All right. It's been about a week since I began my game development journey, and this is what we have created so far. A lot of this was kind of a tutorial, a step by step I've been following with a YouTube guy who kind of breaks down how to do things, how to create a game world, and things like that. So, without further ado, let's hop on in and let's see if I can't change. Actually, before I say that, let me see if I can't change the view. Um, oh, how do I full screen it? Hmm. All right, well, I might not be able to full screen it for now, but so this is the world. It's kind of I still got to do a lot of shading. You know, obviously like the kind of like this is gonna be like a cliffside mountain or something. I don't know why. I kind of liked the pillars, so I decided to like give them a little bit of color. I'll end up giving them more color later. And this is just a random character asset I found. So instead of the generic robot you get at the beginning, you get this guy. These are two enemies. They happen to be the exact same guy as him in a different outfit. So you know, that's kind of interesting, but not super unique. These will end up getting changed. And the core concept of this gameplay loop is we're on wave one, attack a guy, kill a guy, in the wave, spawn wave two. And then, you know, now you got 5 of them chasing you, whatever. But yeah, I think this is pretty cool. I like how the game world's turned out so far. It feels very Fortnite-y, which I kind of want to change a little bit. In terms of the graphics and things like that, I'd like to use different asset packs, but this is obviously just like the first thing I've ever made. And I did it with a tutorial guide who kind of had, you know, his assets that he recommended we use. So it wasn't, you know, anything crazy, but I kind of like the way this turned out. I mean, all this world building stuff, I kind of did this, and I like, it's almost like a cave. It's like the allegory of the cave. So I think I might use this kind of place to ultimately start an actual game that I'm planning to make. This will be like the intro level. But I do kind of like how it turned out. I mean, it's very like, I mean, it looks kind of sick, right? No, am I crazy? Like, doesn't this look kind of cool? Like, it feels like you're going into a freaking forest, and then you got this clearing in the middle of the field. You got nature sounds looping in the background. All of that had to be added, you know? Like, the footsteps you're hearing had to do that. Like, the running animation had to, like, everything in here. It's so much more complicated than, like, I would ever think. And luckily, there are YouTube guides and things like that that you can follow. But, you know, really, I'm enjoying the hell out of this journey. It's difficult. It's way more challenging than I think anything I've ever done because, like, I have a law background, so I'm an attorney, licensed in Illinois, and yet I've never made a video game before. You have to learn, first of all, the engine, which is so complex. You have to learn how to, you know, basically program and code and, like, you know, which I'm still nowhere. Obviously I've been doing this for a week, so I'm not very good at it at all. Um, and like it's just kind of crazy, like how much work and dedication and effort goes in this. But like, I really like level design. I think I could be really good at it, and I think if this is my first kind of showing of that, I think I'm pretty proud of what I've done so far. But obviously, there's a lot of room to grow. There's a ton of room to grow, infinite room to grow. Really, this is very, very beginnings, but you know, obviously, I'm just enjoying myself. So I think I'm gonna make a devlog every 2 weeks, kind of keep track of my progress, where my game has gone, how I've updated it. I'm gonna be spending the next year pursuing transition into game design. It's something I've always kind of dreamt of, never really pursued, and I got laid off recently from my job, which I kind of see as an opportunity. Honestly, I see it as a good chance to kind of start my journey into something that I'm actually gonna really enjoy, which is, you know, game design. I mean, I've been playing games since I was a little kid. You know, Final Fantasy X was the game that really resonated with me the most, and something most people don't know about me is my dad actually passed away when I was a kid. So one of the tropes of that game, if you ever played Final Fantasy X, is that basically, in a way, the main character is kind of chasing after his dad, and it's almost a tale of the adventure along the way. And so a part of me is really into or interested in making the game that I make have a lot of similarities to Final Fantasy X. Obviously not like, not an exact copy paste thing, but I really like the combat system in that game. I really liked the story in that game, so definitely expect some like father-son tales of maybe a reuniting story, a long lost kind of like those types of tropes. Obviously, if you ever played that game, you know that like the idea of mages and like a guy with a big sword, Aaron, and like a thief or Riku, and like all these different character types. I really want to add like a black mage, but I have my own ideas for characters. So, like I want to make for one that I've been thinking about a lot this week in particular. That I think would be a really cool idea is to have basically a harpoonist. He's going to be using like a harpoon, like a fishing harpoon, but it's going to be golden. And the way that he got this golden harpoon, it's going to have some magical backstory about how he was a fisherman, right? He was out fishing one day, and his boat got caught in a storm, and he found himself on basically the equivalent of Davy Jones' boat, like the dark pirates, massive ghost ship or something like that. And the idea that I want to kind of pursue with that is, if you've ever heard the song "The Devil Went Down to Georgia," I bet a fiddle of gold against my soul, I think I'm better than you, that song. I want to make that into the game. So something about this character, being really, really good at something that's not combat related, but like, maybe music. Maybe it's like he's a great, I don't know, some type of musician. So he bets the pirate, against 10,000 years of servitude on his ship, that he would be better at this instrument or better at this musical kind of thing than him. And if he wins, he gets his freedom, and he gets the pirate's harpoon, right? The golden harpoon. But if he loses, it's 10,000 years of servitude. So I think that's kind of be one of the main characters. And really, I have this whole idea for this game where it's, you wake up in this starting area kind of like this, and you have no idea what's going on. Your character doesn't know what he's doing there. He's just woken up, right? And the game's going to be called Awakening. And you're going to venture out into this world. You're going to start here, and I really like the idea. This is kind of not on topic, but I like the idea of having like a lot of good treasure that feels rewarding. So if you venture into the woods over here, you find a chest, and it's not going to be some crappy item. Like, it's actually going to be a decent item. One of the things Final Fantasy did really well is that even in the starting area, there were overpowered in-game items that you couldn't access right away, but they were there. And I really like that. I really like the idea of there being powerful items around you, and if you know like how to get to them or where to look, or things like that. I hate one thing that I don't like about Final Fantasy 16, which is the latest game they've released, is that the treasure and the ground items and the loot felt bad, and that was really disappointing to me. I know I'm getting a little off topic here, and I'll get back to where I see this game going, but I just wanted to bring this up because loot is something that's like very rewarding. Like I'm spending my time in this game. I should feel like every action I do makes me stronger or more powerful or getting to my goal in some meaningful way, right? I should feel a noticeable difference when I do something that's not necessarily go to point A, talk to the quest guy, go to point B, talk to I hate those types of games. I think they're way too common nowadays. I think it's an easy way to make a game from a AAA studio who's more about printing out games with a big title instead of quality, and I want this game to be nothing but quality. So I want everything to feel rewarding and meaningful. But I think really importantly to me is, getting back to the story here, this guy is going to start not knowing where he is. He's going to venture out. There's going to be this nice like kind of winding path. There's going to be maybe a lake on the right, some stones on the left, a treasure chest or whatever. And lots of nice things to look at. But at the end of the winding path, he's going to get to this sage at the end of the road. And the sage is going to tell him, hey, welcome. And he's going to be very cryptic, right? He's not going to tell you the whole story, because why give away everything, right? But he's going to say something along the lines of, basically the idea is there's going to be 10 caves scattered around this entry area, this entrance over here. And so each of them is going to have a person in them. So like the harpoonists, right? And they're all, there's going to be a black mage. There's going to be a beast master who controls a bunch of, his combat style is fighting with beasts. So you're going to unlock all of these, and you're going to have a party of up to 3 players, right? Which you can swap out at will. You can swap them out all the time. And I'm thinking 10. I'm open to the idea of 8 unique characters at first. 8 to 10, I think, is a sweet spot, good range. Possibly lower, maybe 6 at the low end. I don't know yet. I want to do something that feels good, where it feels like you unlock these characters along the road, and you're really excited to unlock like a couple of that you have in mind. That you've read about the game. You're like, oh, you get to play with the black mage eventually, or you get to play with like this dragon guy, something like that. I want you to be able to unlock all of them, but kind of like spread out throughout the story. I think that's a really fun way to do that, and so. Essentially, you wind down that path, and he's going to tell you, you've got to awaken these 10 people that are sleeping in this cave and figure out what the story is. And I'm not going to spoil the end. I kind of already know what the end of the game is going to be and what it's going to look like. That I don't want to really spoil in these dev vlogs. I think that's just kind of for me. But the idea is, as you unlock all 10, you guys start remembering things, and you've worked together before. This is not your first time meeting these people, right? And your dad is one of them. And he's probably, I would imagine he's probably going to be the last person that you unlock. And it's going to be kind of like a reunited story. And you're going to have memories of him. And I think from the get-go, I want you to be able to see that he's one of the trapped people. But his cave is going to be inaccessible until you get to the very end of the game. And the whole time you're going to be like, when do I get to do this? How do I unlock him? And he's going to be a badass character too. I mean, he's going to be someone, someone that like the son looks up to. He's proud of. When he finally gets reunited, he's like, wow, this is everything I ever wanted. And so I think it's going to have a nice kind of homecoming feel to it. Father-son reunion kind of feel. It's going to feel like the game, really rewards you for waiting until the end to get to have that moment, a really cool moment. So I think it's going to be a nice story. There's obviously going to be insane, massive, I want huge bosses. Like, I want bosses, this character size is fine for the main character. I want bosses where you look up and that's his leg, right? like, and you're not going to have any idea how to fight this guy. But there's 10 of you. You have 10 people in your party, and it's gonna obviously. I think a fight like that would require some cutscenes and I want this game to be just massive scale. And obviously, I'm doing this as a solo developer. This is gonna be an indie style game, so not exactly sure what these end game bosses are gonna look like. But I know that I want really unique boss fights that feel challenging, rewarding. You have to do the mechanics, but fair. So, in my opinion, a good boss is one that you can kill on the first attempt, but more than likely the average player is going to need 2 to 3, maybe 4 attempts. I think past that, maybe it's a little frustrating, especially if the spawn points get back. And I'm a really big believer in the fact that if I die to a boss, I want to go back in immediately. I don't want to walk through half a level to get to that boss again. I want to die, think about what I could have done better, how I could have played it differently, and then go right back in. And I want them all to be replayable too. And one thing I'm thinking about in terms of in-game content, I really want all the bosses to be rebeatable. I want them to drop unique loot, and I want them to scale in difficulty. So the first time in the story, obviously the story mode fight, that might, be a pretty simple version of the fight. But at the end game, you'll have a chance to refight everything in like a dark form, or maybe like a light form, or I don't know, some like unique version of the fight. And so I want that version to have more mechanics, more difficulty, and to drop a reward that's going to help you beat the next version of whatever boss you want to go after next. So if you fight like boss number 1 on, let's say, hard mode, right? Then it's going to be rewarding, but it's not going to just give you nothing for beating it, because I hate those systems. I think you deserve loot if you kick ass and beat a harder boss in the story mode. So you're going to get some unique weapon that's, maybe it's for, I don't know, maybe it's for your main character. Maybe it's a ring that gives you, one character immunity to slowing or poison, or I don't know. I want a lot of those effects in the game. Maybe that's not a good enough reward for like an end game hard mode boss, but like you know, maybe some upgraded bow, right, for the Beastmaster that lets him summon, you know, like his pets twice as fast or something. I don't know. Something that's actually unique. It feels really powerful and feels like a legendary version of an item that they should get. And I think I do want that for every character. I want a legendary harpoon. Obviously, he's gonna have the golden harpoon, so some of this I'm gonna have to think about more as I get, you know, further along in game development. But you know, a lot of this game is gonna be things that I want out of a game, right? I think is going to be awesome, and I feel like it's going to reward the player because, you know, at the very foremost of everything, I'm a player at heart, right? Like I want to be a game developer who's also a player. I want to make a game that I would want to log into, and that I would feel like is a good use of my time, and I would feel like something I can get lost in the story that I really believe in. You know, I just want to. I really want to make. I don't know. I want to make the game that I think would be a lot of fun, and I hope that others find it fun as well. So, thank you guys for listening to my little rant. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and let me know what you think of the world so far. I think this is a small zone, but I think this is going to be, you know, once you get some color, this is going to be where the game begins for most players in my game. So, a little sneak preview. Anyways, I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.